Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. When Raila Amolo Odinga called off the demonstrations to give dialogue a chance, as was requested by President William Ruto, many had criticized this move because they said William Ruto is a crafty politician who was only going to waste Raila's time. But there are others who said that Raila should try it and give it a chance if William Ruto is committed. And after push and pull and all the allegations of Jose Camargo coming to interfere with the servers when the talks were about to start, today it is official that the talks have collapsed due to a stalemate that could not be resolved. It started like a rumor, but it has been confirmed by none other than Secretary General of the ODM, who is also the Senator of Nairobi County. Honorable Edwin Sifuna tweeted, and this is what he had to say, that we have had to suspend the bipartisan dialogue after we could not persuade our friends from the Kenya Kwanza to concede to some common sense interim measures, namely, and he calls them common sense. Number one, lowering of the cost of unga. Number two, preservation of the election servers. Number three, suspension of the IEBC reconstitution. And number four, for them to leave Jubilee alone. These are necessary in our view in order to safeguard the outcome of the talks. We hope sense shall prevail. And Edwin Sifuna believes that whatever is causing the bone of contention are matters that are common sense, and he feels that the other side are not applying common sense. If you ask me, William Ruto is throwing an opportunity, a golden opportunity, that if he had utilized well was going to help his government. I'm one person who has always indicated in this channel that the magnanimity of Raila Amolo Odinga is one thing that has been tested, and Raila has proved that he can forgive and forget. I analyzed today that Raila seemed to have abandoned the calls for demonstrations because of his nature, and I call it the weakest point of Raila Amolo Odinga, the love for the nation, the love for peace as statesman. And I looked at his latest moves, and I thought maybe he had decided to give William Ruto a chance, give dialogue a chance, so that they could see whether they could get reforms that would help the masses. Because over and above, I have realized that sometimes Raila realizes, or he just decides that Kenya is bigger than an individual. This is what I saw him do in 2007 when he shook hands with Mwai Kibaki. He did it in 2017 when he shook hands with Uhuru Kenyatta. And the difference between those two retired presidents and William Ruto is that William Ruto is full of chest thumping. At one point, they want to invite Raila for some talks and peace. On the other side, on Sundays, led by the deputy president, they chest thump. And Raila had decided that they try and make peace, they try and talk about it, because all over the world certain issues are resolved when people sit on a round table. But I also agree with Sifuna that these are matters common sense, because before they engaged in these talks, Raila had lined up the five irreducible minimums that he said he could not go below. One of them, as you can see, is number one, lowering the cost of unga. In fact, you cannot accuse Raila Amolo Odinga of looking or seeking for self-aggrandizement, because if you talk of lowering the cost of unga, Raila can afford unga, and so he's not doing this for selfish gains. He is fighting for the common man so that the cost of hunger can come down, and of course the cost of living. He has mentioned there that the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel, the cost of education, and he has said there several times that William Ruto must bring back the subsidy. So on this, number one, I wonder why the Kenya Kwanza team is refusing, yet they are the ones who had promised the Hustler Nation that when they get into office, they will lower the cost of living within 100 days. Number two, there is the preservation of election servers. If you ask me, this is the thorn in the flesh, leave alone all the others. Number two is the gist. This is where, this is what I call a can of worms. If you open it, then you expose many. I have mentioned to you that the day you open the server, you expose the USA and the international community that helped rig the election. The day you open that server, you expose the IEBC, you expose the judiciary, you expose very many people. And this is where the bond of contention starts and stops. And I remember Raila had told them that we want to do this so that we put this behind us. To date, there are two schools of thought. Those who believe that Raila Odinga won fair and square and his votes were rigged, and the other who believe that William Ruto won. And so the only thing that could give us the truth was opening of this server. The question, the billion-dollar question that I want to ask, why is William Ruto afraid? Why is the Kenya Kwanza team afraid of opening the server? And I don't know why they agreed to come to these talks if they knew they were not going to accept, because Raila had lined all these things that they wanted. So opening the server is something that I knew was not going to take place, because they know very well they rigged the elections, and if they open, then it would mean shooting yourself in the foot. Preservation of election, suspension of IEBC constitution. I mean, this is common sense. They had agreed that the recruitment of the panel that will then interview the commissioners would stop. I mean, how else do you explain? Because they themselves, from the day when William Ruto was sending an olive branch to Raila, he had said that one, in fact, that was the only thing that they had recognized they would talk about, is the recruitment of the IEBC commissioners. Again, they cannot accept. I mean, if they cannot accept on this very one that they had promised they would, take very easily, then it means these talks cannot go on. And then they're saying that for them to leave Jubilee alone. Yesterday, Kalonzo Musyoka had said that these talks would collapse if at all the Kanini Kega group would convene another National Delegates Convention, or if they would move to court to oppose and challenge the outcome of the Ngong Race Course resolutions. When the Jubilee took their resolutions to the Registrar of Political Parties, Madam Andy Ritu, they found out that there were some letters from Kanini Kega that had been accepted by Madam Andy Ritu, to the effect that the Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni and the Vice Chair David Murathe had been suspended. And of course, you all understand that the Registrar of Political Parties Chair, Madam Andy Ritu, has been captured by the state. So Kalonzo had warned that if they would continue to interfere with the Jubilee, then they will get out of the talks. And this is exactly what they have done. But what it means now is that they are really testing the patience of Raila Odinga. Because one, Raila had wanted maybe to use this dialogue to achieve his purpose. And what has been the purpose of Raila Odinga? Many disagree with me, but I will tell you that sometimes Raila just feels that we need to make reforms, so that even if, years after he's gone, he will not be into politics, he wants a constitution that will serve the generations to come. This is why he fought for the new constitution. This is why he fought for the devolution. Raila wants a situation where, regardless of who becomes the president. Whether your tribesman is not in power, you will still enjoy the resources, just like the person whose tribesman is in power. Raila wants a situation where every Kenyan is treated as a taxpayer, not someone who has got shares in a government like Rigathi Gachagua says. And so with that, he thought he could do this. If he thought he could use this so that they talk about pertinent, issues to bring, electoral reforms, to restructure the IEBC, things like that. But Ruto is squandering this opportunity. Let me tell you, fortune knocks once at every man's door. And if he squanders this opportunity, Raila will get back to the streets. And this time around, let me assure you, it's going to get worse. Do you know why? We have a disappointed society. Teachers are disappointed. Doctors are disappointed. Every civil rights group is disappointed. The cost of education at the university level is just skyrocketing. You will not be surprised when students join the demonstrations. Doctors join the demonstrations. Teachers join the demonstrations. It will be bad. It will be worse, ladies and gentlemen. And William Ruto must change his advisors if he cannot get the right advisory. And I'm telling you that Raila used that opportunity. And he always says that do not mistake a quiet lion for a cat. And for sometimes I think they thought that, Raila is a cat. William Ruto was also using this opportunity to waste Raila's time. This is the time when we heard of Jose Kamago coming to interfere with the server, so that by the time they open this server, maybe it will be internet with what Chebukati had announced. It was also another opportunity to ensure that the momentum goes down, because he understands that people are very hungry, they try to go to work, and so when you lose the momentum, he knew that calling people back to the demonstrations would not achieve much. But William Ruto is mistaken, because this time around it's going to be worse. Even those people who voted for him, even those who did not want to go to the streets, will go to the streets, not because they think Raila won the election, but because William Ruto cannot lower the cost of living. And so if he jokes around with this opportunity, it's going to be worse. This is another opportunity that William Ruto had, a golden opportunity to unite this country, because the country is divided right in the middle, with Raila controlling over 8 million votes, William Ruto some between 5 million votes there to some 6 million votes. The country was divided in the middle, and he had an opportunity to ensure that he uses this chance to unite Kenyans. But how could he, if he's still joking around like this? With the appointments, only 2 tribes are targeted. And ladies and gentlemen, he has lost it. How does he think that he's going to survive when Kenyans know very well that he has started raising taxes on basic and essential commodities? The price of unga that he had promised would go down, even umi that they had bragged about, has raised their prices. The price of sugar has skyrocketed. And so we have a disappointed and a disillusioned society that will not spare him. If he's not careful, ladies and gentlemen, people will go to the street not because they have been called by a politician, but because they want to fight for their rights. And on this, ladies and gentlemen, we wait and see. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be rosy for this government. I don't know what you think, but this is my take.